You have reached the Geek Elite. Good luck.
My voice cracked, and you can't prove
it. Future John is grateful that he's not going to be here for Nick Fury, by the way.
Oh, no, you're coming back next week, John.
That's right. We're jumping in the car to get on that journey into mystery because this week we are talking about Generation X from 1996. Yeah, 1996.
Seems about right. Yep.
Uh-huh.
And Ian, to talk about Generation X, I have the person that I originally talked about Generation X with, John. Hey, John.
Hi, John.
Hi, guys.
That's right. At one point in time in the first run of the Geeks Watch, John and I did the MCU that could have been, and one of the movies that we decided to watch was Generation X, the failed Fox pilot for an X-Men live-action TV series.
You know, I'm going to throw it out there. Still better than the last one we got.
New Mutants?
Yes.
I will give you that.
We're going to have to, before New Mutants happens, if we get there, when we get there, we're going to have to discuss whether or not, like, which one's actually better. Because I haven't seen New Mutants. I was going to watch it, and then I got the list of all the movies that we're going to have to watch, and I was like, you know what? I'll make sure there's at least one surprise on this list for me.
You're gonna save it. I like it.
Yep, I'm gonna save that. I learned about a whole new sub team of the X-Men. So I was like, oh, are we just being edgy with the name? Nope, that's the name of the sub team. Straight out of the Maryland house. Like, they don't even get to live at the main branch. It's like, no, go live in the other house. You guys suck. Like,
Now, a Generation X is like the continuation high school for the X-Men universe. You know, it's not the best and the brightest, but gosh darn it, do they have potential if they just
try.
apply themselves?
Yeah, they try really hard.
I have plenty of thoughts and feelings about the movie, but there's a couple other things we got to hit on first. Y'all out there, you know the drill. All right,
that's right.
It goes new news, then it goes jokes for about a couple minutes, and then we talk about whatever the Marvel TV show is, which was great. And then we talk about the last 10 minutes of the actual episode of us talking about the movie that we need to talk about.
Oh, I mean, he's not wrong, folks. They're not wrong, folks. Okay, here we go. The one piece of news goes right into the last episode of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. They announced on Friday, as the episode dropped, that there is going to be a new Captain America movie, Captain America 4, and it is going to star Anthony Mackie as Captain America. Because in the episode, he takes on the full mantle of Captain America.
Yes.
Sam Wilson,
fantastic suit.
Before we get into talking about the episode, what do you expect from the movie?
I don't know who the bad guy is going to be, but I expect more commentary on just the fact that he's a black Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be, that's going to be, no matter how minor of a plot point, it's going to get addressed.
Do either of you think that there's going to be 3 movies with Anthony Mackie as Captain America? Like the way we got 3 movies of Steve Rogers.
Yeah, and then we're gonna get 3 movies of Bucky Cap.
I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, I wanted throughout the whole series to see the Bucky Cap suit at one point, but we never got it. Maybe he'll get his own TV series
To go be Bucky Cap.
Yep, because that was the thing in the series. They changed the title from the Falcon and the Winter Soldier to Captain America and the Winter Soldier, and I really felt like they should have changed. And I said this to John in the Geeks Watch that earlier this week too. They should have changed his name too. Like, he's not the Winter Soldier anymore. He's now making amends for the things that he did as the Winter Soldier. So he should have been Sergeant Barnes. It should have been Captain America and Sergeant Barnes. Or
if they wanted to keep with like aliases, could have been Captain America and the White Wolf.
Yeah, he could have went by the way. I just think that
anything that he's been.
They never built up the White Wolf name. Like, we got it in the one Infinity War movie, and like they referred to it a couple times in this series, but like they never like made it a thing. So I just feel like it wouldn't have been the best. Do you think that it's going to involve Sharon Carter as the bad guy?
I think that you know what? Yeah. Sharon Carter's going to be involved, and it's going to be the start of Secret Invasion.
Oh, okay. That's where Secret Invasion. Well, yeah. Secret Invasion is probably going to start in the TV series Secret Invasion, but
that's the Secret Invasion, the TV show. It's a ruse.
I mean,
one's actually going to be Secret Wars.
Just to make it easier for Ian.
Yep, because I will not. All right, so in the Secret Invasion TV show, when they started off the Secret Wars, I'm lost. I'm helpless. There's no help for me.
The showrunner from the series, Malcolm Spellman, is going to go and write the movie. Sebastian Stan will be returning as Bucky for this series. I don't know if they've put down if Daniel Bruhl is going to come back as Zemo, or if Emily Van Camp's going to come back as Sharon or not. Just know that they are going to make this movie, and hopefully we dive deeper into Isaiah Bradley.
I mean, didn't they kind of just like resolve that at the end of the series here?
They did. Like, we get a closure, but I definitely feel like there is a prologue story that would be interesting to have, if not have a prequel series altogether. Like, you get someone to play the younger version of Isaiah Bradley so that you can have the in caps of, he's telling the story to his grandson, and his grandson eventually ends up needing to have a blood transfusion, which then he gives, and he gets to have superpowers.
I would be down for a prequel series that takes place, during like World War II, starting into like the Korean War, because I think he was mostly active like after World War II, from the sound of it.
It definitely sounds like, it definitely sounds like he was more active, like probably in the Korean War or just before. Though in the comic book he was involved in World War II.
It would have been more like side by side. Yeah, that would be interesting, because you could still have Bucky involved in flashbacks, because he's basically ageless at this point with all the freezing and super soldiering and all of that, and that would be kind of cool. Just see the whole. I mean, it's going to be kind of a downer, because you know how it's going to end just really, really horribly. But it would still be cool to kind of see Isaiah Bradley in his prime and some of the crap that he would have had to have dealt with.
True.
At the very least, I want to see Isaiah Bradley kick Bucky's ass.
Yeah, like there would be these stories of the Winter Soldier that comes in and just assassinates whoever, but he goes up against the current Captain America or Isaiah Bradley and gets his ass handed to him. I'd be all for that.
Just ah, my arm. And that's the whole scene. There we go. Put that.
Isaiah actually kept that arm. Like he kept the metal, the first metal arm.
How great would that be? How great would that be? And if instead of the letters they brought out to show Sam from, it was a great scene. I'm not taking anything away from that scene about like they locked me up, they didn't tell me anything about it, they told everybody I was dead. Instead of that, he was just like, kept the arm, kicked that guy's ass. Damn right.
I'd be all for it.
And it's just half of a metal arm, just like every now and then you still get like a like electricity out the back.
Whenever Buck is like visiting him, like you just hear like a knocking from the other room. Like it just starts to activate kind of.
The arm is just like, can I go home? Please.
It's trying to crawl like the Iron Giant, putting himself back together.
Tink, 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 tink.
In actuality, there are just a lot of Bucky arms all scattered around the world. They've all come together to make like a person out of arms. Like
No, that makes sense. Yeah, I'm on board for that. I'll accept that.
it goes by the name of Man of Arms.
Either Man of Arms or Handyman. The only problem is he has two. He has two left hands.
Oh, this is true. All right, let's talk about that final episode. Any big surprises for either one of you?
I was surprised to see like Captain Falcon.
Yeah, really.
I didn't expect him to go there in the show. I anticipated him being the new Cap, like probably in the next movie. We're going to get something about that. But I didn't expect it to happen so soon and like that, because it was kind of an awesome way to go about it.
How did you feel about the suit? To me, I wasn't exactly happy with it.
I was not upset with it.
Okay.
I think it looked a little goofy at times. But, I mean, what suit hasn't looked goofy at some point throughout the MCU?
Oh, this you're absolutely true. You're absolutely true. To me, it was just ill-fitting, like around his face. Like it wasn't the right shape to me, and I just did not enjoy it as much as I wanted to. They were working
from memory out of Wakanda.
That's fair. That's fair.
Hey, maybe it was meant for Bucky, and he just kind of passed it on. It was like, oh, this is for you, Sam.
I don't need wings.
No, I just fall to the ground and grab branches on my way down to break my fall.
That was a glorious scene. I love that.
It was terrible.
I got that on video. No, I liked that aspect of this episode. If you look at this last episode versus the first episode, their dynamic is completely different. They're like legitimately friends now, and not just like a friend of a friend.
True. Have either one of you ever had that? Have you ever had that where you had to make friends with the other person that you were only friends with because you had a mutual friend, or you only knew because you were a mutual friend?
I mean, that's how we started.
That is how we started, John. I thought about it as soon as we started talking.
That's the majority of friends that Sid and I share.
Okay.
I usually, like, if I'm making friends in like a creative space, usually they're Sydney's friends that I then become friends with.
I mean, I believe that I met all of you at the same time, so I wouldn't say that I was any one particular person's friend first.
I'll claim it.
You're the handoff friend.
I'm the friend in the group usually who's just like, hi, I guess we're friends now.
I'm sleeping over.
Yeah. Tell your mom I'm sleeping over, and I'll just make my own eggs. That's fine.
I will raid your fridge or like pantry for snacks.
Do you have any hot dogs?
I will eat them cold. Thank you.
Thank you. What about you, John? Was there any big surprises in this episode for you?
Yeah, I was surprised that they just flat out dispatched all of the super soldiers,
This is true. Yeah.
or at least the
Flag smashers.
flag smashers. Yeah.
Yeah. I was honestly surprised by the quick resolve in character for John Walker. I just thought that the one good deed that he did was not enough to be like, okay, you're on the team now. You can come hang out with us.
I feel like I read that scene as he thought they were cool and they didn't know how to tell him no.
He's the tag along friend. He's the
Yeah.
just
Where
all of a
he's like,
sudden
"Hey,
he's
we
a part
did
of the group.
Yeah. He's like, we did it. And Buck and Sam look at each other and go, we did it.
What's this we business?
Yeah. Now you feel completely free to tell me I'm reading way too far into this one little thing, okay? Do you think in the fight where John Walker shows up and he has his homemade shield and all the superheroes or the super soldiers are wailing on him, and Carly goes and rips that parking meter out of the ground? Do you think that's her like being the flag smasher?
I literally watched that scene and I was like, Ian's gonna be so happy. This is exactly what they wanted. A scene
But,
where
like,
they use something as a mace.
Do you think that's it, or am I wanting that too much?
No, I think that's exactly what it was.
Okay, just like I'm okay with that.
It was someone else first. It wasn't Carly. Someone else ripped it out of the ground, and then Carly picks it up, and then it gets knocked out of her hands, and then someone else jumps down there at Buck and uses a girder. But yes, at one point, Carly
The concept of the mace was there.
Yes.
The concept of a bludgeoning tool was introduced.
Because this is exactly what you said. You said, I want there to either be a mace or to someone pick up a pole out of the ground and use it, swing it around like a mace, because that was the Flag Smasher's weapon. And
Yeah.
it happened.
Yeah. Also, if we're talking about costumes and stuff, I think that the U.S. agent suit is actually pretty sick.
I like it. But I've always liked the U.S. agent suit from the comic book. And honestly, I was right there with Walker when he was like, it's good. It's black. It's exactly the same, but it's black. And she's like, yeah, you just need to be a little different because things are going to get different here, which tells me that there is going to be like Val is going to come through and like pick up all these people to be your Dark Avengers. Like, you're going to have two teams. Hopefully you're going to get two teams out of this. You're going to get your Dark Avengers and you're going to get your Thunderbolts. And yes, I know I'm bringing up Thunderbolts again. I get it.
No.
But Dark Avengers and Thunderbolts in the next phase is going to be awesome.
So, people at home, let me know. You can holler at me either here on Twitch because we stream this. You can come say hey, or you can tweet at us. Should I make bingo cards? Should I make bingo cards and put stuff like Thunderbolts and like me getting overly excited about something or threatening to fight somebody on them? Like, would y'all play bingo?
Can you?
If I put it out there?
Can you do that? And then
There should
make
be a
it.
drinking game.
That's not a bad idea.
This comes out in the middle of the week. We don't want people screwing up their next day of work.
Can you do that? Like throw it up in a fourth screen, like on the Twitch, and then like every time one of us says the thing or does the thing, you can just mark it off and be like, "Here you go."
But then what happens if we hit bingo?
We all scream bingo. We go crazy like back in Pee-wee's Playhouse Day when they said the secret word.
Oh!
I'll get my grandma to sit in the background and yell out, "This is bullshit."
I was 2 numbers away. 2.
I love that. No, but so for real out there, people at home, folks at home, other people in this weird space car with us. Would you play bingo if I made bingo cards? Let me know. Case, I know you'd play bingo, right? Like... Future John, you'd play bingo, right?
Sure, why not?
Sure, Future John just answered you in the past.
Yes.
Were either one of you like expecting a big cameo? I kind of was. Not that there really was a precedent for it because there wasn't one in WandaVision, was there?
I expected Rhodey.
Oh, okay.
That's true. He was there at the beginning for that one brief scene, and then never again.
Wait,
like
what? Rhodey was at the beginning of
the series, not like this episode, but like in episode 1.
I completely spaced that.
Yeah, he was in that museum inauguration when he was turning into Shield.
Yeah,
that's right.
He was.
That's right.
So they had a guest star cameo appearance. It's just that was all they could afford, I guess.
No, like during the attack on New York, like I totally anticipated other heroes to show up because it's New York.
Like Spider-Man could have showed up and helped pull the thing up again, the car. Or
well, he was in Italy.
Like lots of things.
He was in Italy, so
that's right. He was out there saving the world from Mysterio.
Yeah, honestly, do we ever really get a good idea of when this happens in the timeline? Because we know WandaVision happens a week after everybody comes back from the snap.
I think they said that this was a couple years.
A couple years seems far.
I could be wrong.
I think the clearest indication of what that was, I think, is when they were at the bank trying to get the loan. And they talk a little bit more about the timeline right then and there, but I just don't remember that exact phrasing at this moment. So
I mean, it would definitely have to be. It would have to be a couple months at the least because we have the creation of the GRC, or I mean, the GRC has already been created, so they're going to be, have to organize that, and it's got to be with many different governments and stuff like that.
So, according to Google. And its infinite wisdom, it's an indeterminate amount of few months later.
I can accept that timeline. So that would literally mean that would be during when Spider-Man was in Italy, because it was a few months later after that.
Mm-hmm.
I think they say it was 6 months after the blip.
Yeah,
that would make sense.
So I can see that happening.
Because the people were gone with the blip for the couple of years.
Right, 5 years.
5 years. That's where I was getting the 5. That's what it is. You can't prove that I was wrong.
If Mitch was just clearer with his questions,
right.
It'd been fine.
You know what? This is on you, Mitch. This is on you.
See, the one that is going to be more difficult to track down the timeline for is going to be Loki, because it's a parallel universe. B, it's already from like 5 years in the past. And C, we have no idea where he went, how he ended up there, and what exactly he's going to be doing during that time. So
Loki's going to go be a time cop.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah, they're going to be like, you're not going to mess stuff up. And he's like, no, I'm not. I'm going to be a time cop now.
No,
it's like, all right, you better be.
It's time cop mixed with Blue Streak.
Ooh, nice. I like that.
I would love it if it was like Time Cop meets Police Academy.
But they have to have some way of keeping him in check, so it's going to be a little bit of Suicide Squad too, because they're going to put a bomb in his head.
I want to also take it a step further, and I think Mitch will be behind this one. It should also be a mixture of Jet Li's The One.
Ooh.
Where Loki discovers that if he starts killing other Lokis, he gains the cumulative power, and it gets divided amongst the surviving Lokis. And then he wants to become the ultimate Loki. So that's when he hijacks the whole TVA.
Yo, you're on to something, all right? Because then, yeah.
That was a hell of a wasted concept. That movie was awesome.
That movie was awesome. I love the one.
Yeah. It was... Can we just take a second here and appreciate the fact that most Jet Li action movies are fantastic.
Most of them are. I will give you that.
That's a capital most. Because there are some standouts that were dumpster fires.
Now, when you say most, are you including his entire his movie listing, or are we speaking about his American releases?
I would assume you would include his Chinese releases too, filmography.
Yeah.
Okay, because that definitely offsets the curve. But if we're dealing primarily with his American releases, they're somewhat more hit than miss, or miss than hit.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Yeah, that's probably a bit more accurate.
And then there was his video game that he put out.
No, there was a Jet Li video game.
There was one about one of his movies. Was a video game adaptation.
Was it Romeo Must Die? Like
Lethal Weapon 4.
I mean, I like Kiss of the Dragon a lot. I think that's a good one of his American releases, if that's what you want to call it.
No, it's Jet Li Rise to Honor.
Yeah, I don't know that one. I don't know that movie either.
I don't think that was based on a movie. I think that was just a straight up game that has his license on it.
I think, and he's the main character.
Yeah,
like Shaq Fu.
I guess so.
It has a 5.8 on IGN.
Out of what? Out of 10?
Out of 10.
Oh, okay.
So Jet Li Rise to Honor is a video game released in 2004 for the PlayStation 2. The game features the likeness, voice acting, and motion capture work of martial artist actor Jet Li, and features martial artist choreography by Corey Wen.
Oh, okay. Motion capture. All right. Interesting. I know that a while ago when they were filming Loki, there was a casting announcement, and a lot of people speculated that that the actress that they cast was going to be female Loki, or the female body of Loki, at the one point in time when Loki took on a female body.
I'm going to stop making predictions because I'm always wrong.
It's Mephisto.
That's right. You always have to just guess Mephisto at some point now in all the TV series, because obviously that's who Owen Wilson is playing, Mephisto.
Wow. You took part of my soul for your kid. That's a choice. I can't believe you do that, but all right. Wow. Okay, bud.
All right. If there's nothing else you want to say about Falcon and the Winter Soldier, let's go ahead and get on to Generation X.
Last thing about Falcon and the Winter Soldier here. I'm so sorry, but it's important to point this out. It was a lot of fun from start to finish. Mm-hmm. Zemo was actually a really fun character.
Love him.
And the way that it ended gave me happy tears.
I like that. I like that a lot.
With Bucky showing up back at the dock where everybody's partying at the boat that's all fixed now, and it's just a good time, and they're friends, and then everybody's happy because he's Captain America now, and his whole speech to the politicians about you don't get it. It was hell yeah, there we go. I'm excited I'm happy about this. And then I say Bradley's all teary about it because he's I told you not to do it, but you did it anyway, and I'm proud of you. It was good. It was good. That's the last thing I had to say about that. If you haven't watched it, well, congratulations. You know how it goes. And go watch it. Okay, thanks. Bye.
John, was there any last bits that you wanted to add in there?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay. You can find further of John and my thoughts on the subject on the Geeks Watch. You can go back and listen to the last episode. Okay. Generation X.
If you haven't watched it, go watch it.
You should. From 1996. I mean, I want to say that for 1996, this is quite the diverse cast.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Am I wrong?
Minus White Jubilee, but that's neither here nor there.
I mean, it's bad casting, but it is what it is. Which also, John, you recently talked about this actress in VHS Gems.
Yes, I was going to
Heather
bring that
McComb.
up.
Yeah, I kept watching. I was
like-
watching this, and I'm like, "Why does she look so familiar?" And I had to go look her up, and I was like, "Oh, that's right. She's in Stay Tuned."
Yeah, I was like, why do I know her from somewhere also? Like, and obviously I've seen her before in this thing, but I didn't really recognize her right away. And I looked her up. But not only was she in Stay Tuned, she is what you could say a prolific TV actress. She has been in so many TV shows.
She has.
It's just like little bit parts.
Mhm.
But I'm like, damn, like that is definitely what you would call a working actress. She's probably just constantly just auditioning for things and trying to get like the next big thing. This, obviously didn't turn out to be a breakout. But just I'm impressed by just how much she actually just, starred in for like the last 35 years.
Yeah, and most recently, I saw her in the documentary from Soleil Moon Frye, the Kid 90 documentary, which is on Hulu. She's specifically talking about her career as a child actress. We also have, so she plays the character of Jubilee, or as stated in this, Jubilation Lee, which is very, very similar to the introduction to Jubilee that you get in the 90s animated series, which I thought was interesting.
Playing the arcade.
Yeah, playing the arcade, which
Specifically Virtual Fighter.
that's right. I wonder if Fox owned Virtua Fighter at that time.
Maybe because the other brands, they talked about those specific brands like 6 different times.
I think we addressed that the first time around, whereas I think we found out that they did have some kind of a licensing deal where they would talk about those specifically. I don't remember much more about that, but it had to be some kind of cross reference with Sega or something, cross promotion.
That's right. They were a Sega game. Jubilee is obviously a character from the comic books.
Please say her whole name, Mitch.
I'm sorry. Jubilation Lee is a character from
Thank
the comic
you.
books.
Thank you.
Arlie Hicks, or in this known as, what was her name? What was her superhero name in this? It wasn't Skin. Skin was the Angelo, that
A stretchy guy.
stretchy guy.
Did she have one? I don't think all of them got a code name or
Buff.
code
Wasn't
word.
she Buff?
Yes, it was Buff. Yes.
Yeah. So she just had super strength and super speed, but she was made for this TV series.
Yeah, because they didn't really understand mutant powers, I'm guessing, for this creation of this story. I'm guessing the writer didn't have previous comic book experience.
Yeah, probably not. Monet, or M. Yeah, or M. That is a character in the comic books. Mondo is a character, I believe, in the comic books. Kurt.
Yes.
His powers were different, though, right?
No, his powers were the same, but the cool thing about Mondo there is that this Mondo is actually a clone, and the real one's a villain that hangs out with Juggernaut.
Oh. Oh, yeah, because of the whole connection to Black Tom Cassidy, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Kurt, who has that radiation eyes, was also made for this TV show, and obviously a kind of counterpart to Scott Summers' Cyclops. However, this character,
Cyclops,
this character can actually take off his glasses.
Yeah, I call them Guy Fieri clops because that frosted hair was just awful.
But very
Well,
90s.
he's like Billy Idol Cyclops.
Yeah. We talked about Skin. Skin is a character in the comic books, but not nearly as used.
I didn't know who Skin was in the comics, so I went and looked him up. Oh my god, they're terrifying! Whoa.
Now, is this version of skin the same as the comics? Because I thought that the skin from the comics could also like make skin projectiles. Like he can throw like pieces of his skin in like the shape of like spikes, or is that a completely different character?
I mean, there was Spike.
There was a character called Spike.
Who can like pull like big ass splinters out of his arms.
Yeah, it was like quills from like a like a what are those?
Like a porcupine, but they're like beefy quills. Like they're like that big around kind of nonsense that he's just like ripping out of himself.
He was a character made for the X-Men Evolution TV series, I believe.
That's who I must be thinking of. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But there's
the other dude who can like push needles out of their skin.
Oh, that was. Is it? I don't remember.
I want to say it's something dumb like Quill or something like that.
But there was
like Pincushion.
There is the one like female character that can. Marrow, she can throw like bone spikes at people.
Oh yeah,
and Marrow's rad.
Yeah,
I'm upset that I forgot about Marrow. How'd you let me forget about Marrow, Mitch?
I'm sorry, I truly am.
Yeah,
so
damn it.
We also have Fiona Hughes as Emma Frost and Jeremy Ratchford as Sean Cassidy. Also, Emma Frost is the White Queen, and Sean Cassidy is Banshee. Then you have Matt Frewer as Russell Tretch. I don't know if that's Russell Tretch is a character in the comic books or not, but Matt Frewer is been one of my favorite like character actors for the longest time. And he can do just about anything. Like this is the same guy that was the father in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, if I remember correctly. Not the Rick Moranis character, but the next door neighbor father.
I was gonna say, put some respect on my boy Rick Moranis out there, but like, okay, his character was made for this specifically.
Okay, that makes complete sense. And like, many times I'm watching this, I'm like, he's doing a great Jim Carrey. However, he was around before Jim Carrey. Like he was doing Max Headroom long before Jim Carrey. So I can't say that he was stealing it.
I mean, I think it's because of like how old I am. This movie came out when I was 3.
I don't want to hear that.
Well, you're gonna, Mitch. I will point out the age difference between us when I can, just to drive that knife.
It hurts.
No, so like my experience, my exposure to that kind of character is Jim Carrey's Riddler.
Mm-hmm. It's exactly the same. Jim Carrey's
he even does like some very Jim Carrey Riddler plot points in this movie.
Yes.
Minus the fact that this dude is creepy and awful. Whereas Jim Carrey's Riddler is goofy and insane and homicidal, sure, but like he's not bad.
So
you wouldn't suspect stranger danger.
Batman Forever did come out in 1995, 1 year before this. So maybe he did. Maybe they were like, hey, that's a good story point. Let's just steal that and let's get someone to play Jim Carrey's Riddler.
Let's also take all of their surplus green neon and just stick it in random places.
Oh my goodness. Right. I want to talk about the set design, the choices for filming, the colors. All of it was just so like eye hurting. Like there's the scene when they're outside the prison where Jubilation Lee is and like they're talking to her mother and there's just this fuchsia wash over on them and they're doing these Dutch angles and I'm like, this is hurting me to watch, to look at with my eyeballs. It's so much of that.
You know, the version of this movie I watched, because I don't think this is like available to stream legitimately anywhere right now. So yes, I watched a rip of it on YouTube, and the audacity that the person who uploaded it had in the fact that they added the modern Marvel like production logo to it with the whole comic book fluttering pages and all that.
I couldn't believe they did that either.
The audacity.
The audacity.
Was anybody else? And I don't know if this is the same version we watched all those years ago, John, but like
The cursing.
That
Yes,
stopped me. She said, "Fuck that shit," and I was like, "Wait, what?"
She said it a couple of times. Yeah.
I only saw it I only picked up on it the one time, and I was like, "This is a thing that was on TV. She couldn't have said that." So what?
No, it actually was not. So it turns out, because we talked about this the last time, so many years ago. It turns out there were two versions. There was the American version and the European version. The European version had those naughty words thrown in there. They were edited out of the American. I don't know why.
Makes sense.
I don't know why they felt the need to do any of that, or why it was necessary, or why just that one particular scene happens to have a couple of F-bombs, and then nowhere else is there anything like that.
I mean, why would the director even think like, or the writer or the director be like, this is going to be a thing on TV. Let's go ahead and throw in fuck that shit.
I'm guessing that was an ad-lib by the actress, and this was like close to the end of shooting. She was just expressing how she really felt about the shoot, I think. She was like, fuck that shit.
So, between that and the fact that the villain Russell Thresh, when we finally get him being like the bad guy, because we know he's the bad guy the whole time, but like when they go to confront him and whatnot, he's out here saying some racist stuff and like some like real not okay things. It's like, yeah, I get you're the villain, but like, damn, dude, like. Like okay,
when he's talking to Angelo and doing the whole Vato voice, that was pretty
he's
bad.
doing that, and a couple of the things he says to him, like choice not okay racist things, and it's like, what?
I mean, it was a different time, guys. It was the mid-90s. I mean,
it was the mid-90s. It was all about bringing up race as a joke all the time.
Yeah, especially anything Hispanic related. There was a particular point I wanted to bring up about Emma Frost, particularly. I remember as I was watching this again, this second time around, or third, I don't even know how many times I've seen this. I've seen this too many times. That's the only correct way to describe it. But I kept thinking to myself, Emma Frost in this movie looks like every 90s softcore porn actress that was on like Silk Stockings or like Red Shoe Diaries.
Yep.
She has that Shannon Tweed like look to her.
I think that was the point.
It definitely was.
Because
they're trying to bring up that she's a vamp without the overt sexualness, I guess.
And like, because even Jubilation Lee, her mom was like, well, you want to send her to a school to learn how to be a stripper?
That was a good joke. I like that one.
Yeah. Speaking of, that's Finola Hughes. And I mean, you've definitely seen her in other things. But for a while, she was the voice of Lady Shiva in the Beware the Batman cartoon, which seems, kind of odd. That's very whitewashing of a very Asian character. That's neither here nor there.
Case in point, Jubilee.
I was going to say, what
Jubilation Lee.
Then what do we call Miss Jubilation Lee here? Overall, I didn't hate this movie experience. But I think it's because I kept thinking like, oh, this just feels like any given scene felt like it might have been cut from an X-Files episode. Just from like the way that it's shot and like not like the lighting or anything, but like the angles they used.
Yep.
It all just felt like very like I felt like I knew where we were finally. Because it's something that happened while I was alive.
So this was like, speaking of like, I'm pretty sure there's the scene where Russell is falling through that like wormhole looking thing. That is the exact same special effects they used for or background special effect for sliders, like of the little vortex that they slide through. But this brings me back to what we talked about last week, where getting a character to stretch their skin never looks good. It has never looked good on screen, and they did a lot of the same thing they did for the Fantastic Four movie that we talked about last week, where they did the forced perspective of, oh, now my hand's all the way over there kind of thing.
Yeah. I liked the practical effects when they were like snapping his skin. It was just
When
like
Mondo
right.
gives him the purple nurple.
Yeah, it was just like it's like ah. But it wasn't as bad as the Fantastic Four movie was.
It really,
as far as like the
wasn't.
stretching.
I mean,
Like,
obviously
it
they
looked
had
like
budget.
they tried. Yeah.
And the fact that like, and this is very X-Men, especially like third tier X-Men, to have a power like stretching skin and you still feel pain from it. From like you get Reed Richards. He doesn't experience pain when his arm stretches out super far, but Skin does. Like his, was it sister, niece, whoever, like holding onto his hand, like just out of pure amusement of like seeing him be in pain. Like that was just sad.
That was a dark scene, man.
That's
was
a
like,
very
what's
dark
wrong with
scene.
that girl?
You know who I want to see team up, and I want this in a movie. So I'll go ahead and put my what do you want to see in the future. I'll go ahead and put my answer down here right now.
Put it on the bingo card.
Yeah, I want to see. This involves getting the West Coast, or not the West Coast, the Great Lakes Avengers involved. But I want to see Skin hang out with Mr. Immortal,
Yes.
where they both just feel everything. So Skin's out here getting stretched out, and he's like, you're killing me. And Mr. Immortal is like, please just kill me.
Hey, technically Wolverine feels everything too. He just heals from it quickly, but it
I
doesn't.
also feel like he's felt
diminish
so
it.
much that he just pushes it off. It's like, it doesn't hurt
He
anymore
doesn't
because
have- yeah, he doesn't have nerves anymore.
yeah.
No, they heal. They come back. That's why he can't get circumcised.
Ooh, well, I mean, not unless he got circumcised before his mutant power kicked in.
I mean, it was the 1800s. I doubt it.
You're right. Okay, so yeah, the whole point of the bad guy in this is to travel in people's dreams, which apparently is an inherent ability in all mutants in general, but using a device that was created by Emma Frost,
Not Cerebro.
not Cerebro. The mutants are able to do it better or more accurately. But he is using this to manipulate people, especially on the board of this company, and then to get the one guy that he's been talking to throughout most of the series to walk off of or jump out of a window. Like it's very much the same as the plot point of Batman Forever and the Riddler, right? Like to jump into people's dreams or minds and get the information out.
And to use it as an advertising scheme. At least that's how he was pitching it.
Yeah.
It's like,
Now, what is the career trajectory of that character? Because the movie starts with the cold open. He's about to perform surgery on what's clearly a mutant that happens to have like a claw hand.
Yeah. Like,
And then Emma Frost just happens to come in and stops the, involuntary manslaughter that's about to occur there. And he's like dressed all in medical gear. He looks like he's a surgeon about to do that, basically a dissection. And then we see him working at an arcade. And he's
So-
just kind of watching over the subliminal messaging take hold of Jubilee, and her powers go crazy, and she basically starts bursting off her fingertips. And then we see him at that advertising, ad agency or whatever that was, saying, hey, I can implant people's thoughts or dreams with subliminal messaging to buy products and play more video games. You should buy my product.
You should fund my product.
So here's the trajectory. I think I figured this out. He was the top of his class through high school, and he graduated very well out of med school. Right?
Mm-hmm.
He gets a job not as a doctor, but as a research scientist, specifically around dreams.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, all right, bet. He starts working with Emma Frost, and she's like, no, you cannot understand the secrets to my dream powers. And he's like, well, screw you. I'm going to figure it out. He goes and
Why did Emma Frost become Russian?
I don't know, because she needed an ominous accent.
Okay.
I mean, she just sounds like any milquetoast, like white lady.
But so he's like, well, fine. And he steals her research and builds the weird dream chair. And he's like, hold up. Mutants got a whole pocket of dream juice just there in their brain, and I need that. So that's when we get the cold open of him just like getting ready to Siler from Heroes this kid to get into his brain. And then that's when Emma Frost shows up. That's when his career goes down the tubes, and he's like, well, what else can I do? I'm just this like PhD with no research because I've been disgraced. I'll open an arcade. That's what I'm going to do, because that's where I'll have enough space to store my cool dream chair. And then that's when he gets involved with doing all his Riddlery things in the weirdly lit office, talking to Bobby Boy over there about how he can get people to play more Virtua Fighter. Then he loses his body, and that's how we come full circle, because he goes to himself in the past, and he's like, hey, what up? You got to do this thing. And he's like, and it's cyclical. There we go.
So in this movie where a scientist travels through dreams, teenagers have superpowers, and there is a giant mansion in the middle of New York that only a few people live in, and there are no people to keep up the grounds. The most unbelievable thing in the whole movie is the fact that a corporation's board is going to be ethically sound and be like, no, we can't do that. That's wrong. He's trying to do a bad thing in manipulating people's brains into buying our product. Because we all know for a fact they would have been like, yes, let's do this. Let's go ahead and start manipulating people's minds so that they'll buy our product.
It would have been like, right now, let's go.
Why are we still talking about it?
Hello, come on.
No, in the scene, they're like, we need to call the cops. We need to find somebody to tell on about this guy because he just wants to do a bad thing. And I was just like, that's not believable at all.
And the fact that when he gets arrested, the cops come in and find him in this weird chair, and they're just like, well, yank him out of it.
Yes. Yeah.
None of them were like, what if it's a bomb? And then he goes to minimum security, like psych ward.
Like no one told them, like he's trying to develop a way for people to, manipulate people's brains. You probably would want to keep him away, keep him locked up real tight.
Right. You know that big old glass chamber that you have sitting around for Magneto? Put him in that.
The blinking thing. Every time he blinked and they used that sound effect where it went shoo, shoo, whatever. I was like, why? What is this supposed to be telling me? Like, is that actually happening? Is that guy who's trying to feed him like hearing that too? I would really be scared if I heard things every time someone blinked.
Now the Foley artist got really bored.
He's like, "There's nothing for me to do here." So, from the video game cabinet that the X-Men exist in this world, like in a certain way, and I believe that there's some place in the movie where someone's wearing like a Wolverine shirt or something like that.
It's in that same scene.
Where are the other X-Men throughout this whole thing?
Well, let me pull it up here because Generation X don't live at the actual like Institute. They live in like Maryland or something.
Oh,
like
really? The funny thing is that's the same mansion that they used for all the X-Men movies. They also use it for Lex Luthor's house in Smallville and Oliver Queen's house in Arrow. So this house has been in a lot of superhero things. Like, it's even the same X-Men house they use for Deadpool.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, so it says that Generation X consists of teenage mutants designed to reflect the cynicism and complexity of the series' namesake demographic. Unlike its predecessor, New Mutants, the team was not mentored by the X-Men founder Charles Xavier, his New York estate, but by Banshee and former supervillainous Emma Frost at a splinter school in Massachusetts.
I mean, that makes sense. That would be where Emma Frost would decide to have her school.
16 years after the original series had ended, a second volume debuted in 2017 as part of the Resurrection, with Jubilee mentoring the group. So she takes over eventually. That's kind of cool, but they all live at the rebuilt Xavier Institute. So they don't have to go to Massachusetts when Jubilee takes over.
So in the end, our Generation X heroes all win through the power of friendship and trusting each other. What would you have liked
to work together?
They learn to work together. What would you have liked to see if the series had gone on as it was intended? Obviously, Buff was the first one to get the cool new suit, so I would assume all of them were going to get a very colorful suit.
I mean, maybe every once in a while have like an actual X-Men appear or something related to the comics would have been a little bit nicer.
I mean, between 1996 and 1999, who would you have seen come in to play Xavier?
I mean, I think the number one choice was always Sir Patrick Stewart.
I mean, that would have been went right into the movie in 2000, right? That would not have been a bad idea.
It should have been perfect. It would have been cool to see other like fringe mutants.
Ooh. I wouldn't. You could see like the Morlocks.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. Black Tom Cassidy wouldn't have been a bad idea.
Especially with the relation to Mondo.
Yeah. Yeah, they definitely brought that up.
Maybe some Nathaniel Essex in there, or at least kind of as the background villain.
That would have been a great idea. Could you imagine if Matt Furr was actually playing like Mr. Sinister?
I don't know if he's sinister enough for that, but see, I thought he was kind of like a conglomeration of like Arcade in a way, and only because of the Arcade references of him trying to do the but also like I could have seen him become one of the later characters, like maybe MODOK or something.
Yeah, didn't he do the voice of the leader in the Incredible Hulk like animated series?
I think he did.
I think he did too.
He's one of those that's just been in like so many different things.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So, you know who I would have loved to see show up either in this movie or if it had gotten to continue?
Who's that?
Chamber.
I would have loved to see Chamber. Like I can't wait to the day that we get to see Chamber in live action. Like I can't imagine that actually happening, but I wouldn't mind seeing it.
That's who I want to see in the future of the MCU when we get the mutants. I want Chamber. They don't have to be a big character. I just want to see them.
Yeah.
You know, and if it would have gone on to like 3 seasons, we could have had a big crossover event with Alpha Flight.
Alpha Flight would have been cool. I'm surprised we haven't gotten an Alpha Flight thing yet, live action.
True. I mean, Puck just sounds like the perfect character to have in like live action.
Yeah.
It's just a short, squat, round little man.
So what would be the action figure or action figure set that you would want to see that came out of this?
It would be a Stretch Armstrong, but it's skin.
It's skin, and every time you stretched him, he screamed out in pain.
Yeah. Oh,
He has a sound chip.
you know? Do you remember the like the wrestler dolls that like if you hit them or if you pulled them weird, they would scream? It'd be like that.
Yeah, I would be all for that. I'd be all for that. You definitely Go ahead, John.
The obvious figure for me would be a buff figure who's basically just like a Barbie with really baggy clothing. And if you take it off, it's actually like a He-Man body.
I love that too. That just because she's wearing baggy clothing, that Mondo's like, nah, she's fat underneath all that. It's like, really? You don't understand how clothing works? Like, that's interesting.
And the fact that they're like, nah, there's no way she's that ripped. But like, what do you mean there's no way that she's that ripped? Like,
you're all that have superpowers. You know that, right?
At the moment we kissed, my powers kicked on at their full capacity, but I didn't look.
Yeah.
But I didn't look.
You know what?
Shut up.
I want the mansion playset just so that you could take it to the other toys because it belongs with the other characters all as much too. Like,
I love that.
Green Arrow and Lex Luthor all living at the same house.
In all these iterations, the house is the carryover.
It's the constant. It's the vortex point, like for the
fixed point
nexus.
in space.
Yeah, it's the nexus for all these things.
This is our lake house.
You brought the lake house in.
Kudos for that obscure reference. Now, question. Are you too familiar with the TV show Mutant X?
I am familiar with it. I never watched it. But once again, not related to the X-Men.
It's technically a Marvel property.
It is, but not related to the X-Men.
I mean, but it's in the wheelhouse. And I think it ties into the New Mutants in a way.
I don't think it does. At least the TV show didn't.
Bless you.
Might have been. Thank you.
Because they also had an actual character named Mutant X or something like that in the comic books, or maybe that's just X-Man. Yeah.
Yeah, and then there was Mutagen Man in the Ninja Turtles.
I mean, they were all changed by mutagen, right?
Yes. The what was it? The purple ooze, green ooze.
The ooze, yeah. So why bring up Mutant X? Just because that was the other show that was like this at the same time, and you thought it was better? Like
this came out.
I feel like that was a syndication show. It didn't have a proper home.
It did not. No, I remember seeing it bouncing around a few places here and there. And I just remember watching it and thinking, man, this is such a ripoff of the X-Men. Which, by the way, completely tangential, and nobody has brought this up at all. But I'm thinking, because I put my little, I want to say speculation hat on. We're going to get the X-Men eventually in the Marvel Universe, MCU. And we've had a version of the X-Men, what I want to call the Black Leather generation, which started to make some strides into adding a little more color, particularly with like First Class and actually becoming a bit more comic accurate. How awesome will it be if, once the MCU finally debuts X-Men, it's a live-action remake of the animated series?
I mean, that'd be pretty great, but I'm kind of tired of that cast or that sect of characters. Like,
so then what would you see in the X-Men universe for MCU?
How many characters do we get in this cast? Because like,
let's go with 7.
7?
7?
Yes, and that's including the mentor character.
Okay. Give me Storm as the mentor.
Okay.
With Jubilee.
Jubilation Lee.
Yeah, with we have Pyro. Give me. Oh, I can never remember. It's his name's Warren. Is that Archangel?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Angel
Okay.
or Archangel.
Yeah. So give me one of those two. Because then we've got. Actually, no. Storm is a part of the team, but she's from. It's the like punk rock Storm from when they're like the. You know who I'm talking about? When she
Days
had
of
the
Future
mohawk?
Past one or something like that.
Yeah, because that one's badass. But then you make Beast the mentor,
Okay.
and he's like the begrudging dad of the whole group because he's like, please don't leave me with the kids. Please, damn it, you left me with the kids. But then we get. I have two more. Two more being Colossus and Quicksilver. I kind of picked some like random ones to throw in there, but if we're getting a whole new look at the X-Men, that's the team I want.
So
I think that'd be real fun.
Since we can't have Quicksilver, since he's dead in the MCU, can we throw in North Star instead, which gives you a French Canadian speedster?
I guess.
I mean, otherwise you're getting Ralph Boner.
Boner.
I mean,
I would like. Oh, sorry.
yeah. Who's your team? Who's your team?
I would like them to go with like a astonishing X-Men from around the early 2000s roster. So you'd have Kitty Pryde as your mentor, your head mistress of the school, Emma Frost, Cyclops, Beast, Colossus. But then it's the kid characters that are coming in that are going to be the most important. Like those other characters are going to be the background, come in, go out kind of characters. Kitty Pryde's going to be your main. Then you get people like Jay. You get a lot of the Mutant Academy kids at that point, and it's just influx of young mutants. I think that's the storyline that I would want to go with, because we've seen so many stories with the quote unquote first class and even all new, all exciting, all new, all different X-Men. That's what it's called. So
I want an Oops All Cajun team.
All right, so Gambit is one.
Yep.
And then who else is in there?
4 different versions of Gambit.
No, it's the same. It's exactly the same, but it's like the costume is like palette swapped, like a video game.
Yep. It's if you push A to pick your character instead of pushing B. I get it.
Got it.
What if instead of Oops All Cajun, it's Oops All Southern?
So it's all the Guthries.
So we get Gambit, we get Rogue, we get
You get Cannonball, you get Husk, you get Jaybird.
Blob? Is he Southern?
I don't think Blob is.
I feel like he's like us, like Floridian.
I feel like he was in Wolverine, X-Men Origins Wolverine, because they had Kevin Durand play him, and he's Australian, I think.
Oh, okay. The two Aussies.
Yeah, it was easier to make him do a kind of a Southern accent kind of thing. He might not be Australian. I might be remembering that wrong. He might just be.
But
he's just got a speech impediment. He just made fun of his disability.
all right. So here's another bingo square for you. Marvel, if you want to have a good series, get me in the writer's room. I don't have to write anything, but just let me pitch. Because Oops All Southerners X-Men, Oops All Southerners would sell. People would read it, if not for like the seriousness, for just the goofy hijinks of being like, that ain't soda, that's Coke. That ain't Coke, that's soda. Like,
I really feel like the cover of it has to have like Xavier wearing Captain Crunch's helmet or hat, like on the front of it.
it's Xavier just wearing a cowboy hat.
Oops, all Southerners.
It is his cool floaty wheelchair is just a horse now.
And like Rogue's got like a sheaf of wheat, like using as a toothpick.
Hey.
All right.
That'd be fantastic. That'd be perfect.
I think that's where we're gonna cut it for the night. If they want to get more at you, John, where can people find you online?
You can @ me on Twitter. I am @MagicBollocks, and I'm glad that you called me in for this one. I know I wasn't your first pick. I know I wasn't the best pick, but I'm like the Rudy of the podcast. I just come in at the end to save it.
Clutch. Ian, where can people find you online?
So, hi. If you know where to find me online, congratulations, you already did it. But if you don't, I'll tell you. It's not a secret. You can find me at twitch.tv/IanFlux and on Twitter @IanFlux12, Instagram @IanFlux. Yeah, so get at me. That is IANFLUX on Twitter. That's IANFLUX, the numbers 1, 2. And if you ask really nicely, Mitch will tell you where to find him on the internet as well, but you have to ask nicely.
Oh, since you asked nicely, you can find me on Twitter. I am @Mitchipedia, GEM. GEM stands for Geek Elite Media. The rest of Geek Elite Media is @Geek Elite Media on Twitter, @Geek Elite Media on Instagram, and Facebook.com/Geek Elite Media is our Facebook page. Check out archived episodes of this podcast and other podcasts on our network on our website, geekelitemedia.com. Please rate and review us on whatever podcatcher you use to help spread the word of our network. But until next time, this is Journey into Mystery on the Geek Elite Media Network, saying always remember to geek out.
Geek out.
Out.
This concludes our broadcast.